Have you ever had one of those days where everything just seemed to go wrong on the tech side of things? That's where I've been for the last 2 days. This video is going to be more of a, I guess, venting session than educational, unless you consider learning from my experiences as educational. And honestly, I'm not sure how much there is to learn from this. It all started yesterday. I woke up and was sifting through my morning email and mapping out my day when just out of the blue, I got surprised by a loud buzzing sound coming from my speakers. Well, that's not good. So I mute the speakers and I notice that my interface is freaking out. It's showing that signals are clipping on channels that shouldn't have any audio going into them. Well, that's even worse. So I start the obligatory troubleshooting basics. I update the software and the firmware for the Apollo, and no luck. It's time to eat some breakfast, so I guess this is as good of a time as any to install those updates my computer's been yelling at me to do for the last couple weeks. So I go make some breakfast, eat, and come back to test everything out. The Apollo is still freaking out, still protesting, so it's time to go to the Google machine and to do a search. It yields the few fellow sufferers, but no solutions. So it's time to punt things over to tech support, which, in my experience, can take a few days to respond. By now, I'm already behind schedule for the day, and Tara's waiting for me to get my treadmill hike done so she can go get in her run. Winters in the Northwest, they push us to be indoors more often than we'd like for fitness routines, so treadmill it is. I'll use this time to kind of ponder how to move forward and set up a backup option. Now I'm done working out, I've showered, I've eaten lunch, and I have a clear head. So I'm ready to navigate the headache that's going to come from having to dive under my desk, fish out wires, all of that fun stuff. In this case, I'm going to try using the Rodecaster Duo since it's already out on my shelf and I've used it a few times already. I've also been meaning to get some more experience with it anyway, so why not? I was hoping I could save some time by just running some new cables from the Rodecaster to my focals, but that's just not happening because I couldn't find any female XLR to quarter-inch TRRS cables. So, even though I tried, it's time to get down on the ground, pull my desk out, crawl behind it to fish out the monitor cables, and try to figure out how to route them so the cats don't think it's some new toy for them to play with. So I finally get that done. I've got the Rodecaster set up, but now I'm not getting any audio out of the monitors. For some reason, Rode has decided a manual is better broken up amongst multiple web pages than to provide a simple PDF. So I'm bouncing back and forth between different pages trying to find the information I need. I've gone through all of the settings and I'm just not seeing anything that's helping me. So I go to their website and see that they have chat support that's actually available right now when I need it, which was a nice surprise. I work with the tech support agent to figure out that the problem is that it's set to auto mute the monitor outputs when there's a mic active. Okay, that makes sense. We don't want any kind of feedback or anything like that. So I'd looked at that page, but the little white halo around the option didn't register with me as meaning that it was active. So I'd missed that. Okay, so now I'm making progress. I've got music coming out of my monitors. Time to switch over to the headphones real quick. Now I remember. I get a ton of noise from the headphone ports. So much noise that I can't really use the headphones for anything but maybe recording content. And even then, that constant noise gets very fatiguing for me. But I definitely can't edit with this level of noise present. So I ask the agent about it before we end the chat. He looks up the specs for my headphones and he tells me they're low sensitivity headphones like they're NTH 100s. So use the low sensitivity setting. I'd already tried that. I tried all three settings, but I figured I'd go through the motions in case I missed something. Nope, nada. No change between any of the settings. I thank him for his assistance and I move on. So I think to myself, okay, let me try my old Audio Technica M50Xs. I dig them out of the closet and same thing. Constant noise. Let's see if Tara's headphones work better. Okay, good. They do. But then I'm immediately reminded why I hate the DT770s. They have to be the most artificial and plasticky sounding headphones I've ever used. I'm surprised that so many people seem to love them. But at this point, I have to accept defeat and try to patch together some kind of a workable solution. The first order of business is to set up some custom routings on the Rodecaster. Turns out, the new virtual devices everybody was excited about a few months back, they're only partially functional on a Mac. I can use virtual devices in my DAWs or communication apps, basically anywhere where I can set the input and output devices, but I can't route Apple Music or web browsers or QuickTime to their own channels. So it's time to dive back into Loopback. I get halfway done setting things up when it's time to call it quits for the day and start dinner. I have to acknowledge at this point that I lost the battle today, and I'll regroup and start anew tomorrow. This morning, I do a little research, and I find that I'm definitely not alone in experiencing this noise issue with the Rodecaster Duos. It seems to be a common complaint with at least the Duos. It's possible that it's also with the second generation Rodecaster Pros. But either way, some people have claimed to solve this issue by getting an inline ground loop noise isolator. I know that's a mouthful, but I ordered one and it'll be here sometime tomorrow afternoon. I can't assume that that'll work, so I need to find a usable solution. But Rode, really? I buy your $500 device and I have to go out and buy a noise isolator to be able to use my $400 headphones because you used a cheap headphone amp? I would have paid another $15 or however much it costs to have a good headphone amp. I've used a number of interfaces with these headphones, and the only other one that is noisy is the Elgato XLR hub. I expected better, but I digress. My Apollo seems to have calmed down, so I'm thinking maybe this was a freak thing and it's all good now. Nope, wishful thinking. But at least I was able to determine that the headphone amp isn't affected by this nonsense. So it's back to Loopback to add some more custom routings so I can at least get my essential audio into my headphones without noise so that I can get some work done. Now that I've got everything working, I think I'm ready to record a new video. I get everything set up. I've got all my audio coming through my headphones clean and clear. Time for the mic check. Nothing. I can see the signal everywhere, but it's not coming through the headphones. Oh, I forgot to map the mic to the Apollo. That should be a quick fix. But wait, what's that? Latency. I didn't think about that. Trying to send the output from the headphone or from mic 1 into the computer, into the Apollo, that's going to introduce some latency. If this were a solo video like this, wouldn't be a concern because I don't need headphones. But for this video, I needed them. So back to the noise I go. I start recording and realized that I didn't set up a second track to record my system audio. So I have to stop and restart. But the good news is, I was only 10 minutes deep when I realized this. It's no fun to spend 30, 45 minutes recording a video, only to realize there's no audio to go with it. Oh well, at least I got it recorded. It's now been 2 business days with nary a peep from UA's tech support. I already know the answer. Here are some things for you to try. Let us know. These are things that I've already tried. So at this point, I'm just wondering how much the repair is going to cost and how long it's going to take. The Apollo, it's one of those pieces of equipment that I can't afford to have a spare just laying around. And I hope they can repair it because buying a new 8-channel interface, especially another Apollo, just isn't in the cards for me right now. And like everything else, I know I'll find a way to make things work, but this was really the last thing I needed right now. So, enough about me. Tell me about your bad day. The day where you were fighting technology, or fighting a client, or multiple clients, or bosses, and nothing's going your way. Thanks for listening to me vent, and I'll talk to you next time.